Today I'm going to try and foundation a hive frame. So this is for a super, which is where the honey is made by the bees. And what we do is we use these little chaps. So these are wax, I believe, foundations. And they've been in the garage and probably stuck together a bit, so we just slide the old paint stripper in between. So pretty thin. So right, the best way I've found to put these in is I don't really want to take the bottom off because the nails are holding it onto the side pieces and they're so small you have to use the same nail hole. So if you take these out and then put them back again, they're not going to be very strong. So what I've found is if you can slide it in through the bottom up to the top, it's far better. But what I'm finding, these are really tight. I don't know if they're made by a different company, but what I've found is if you get Jackie's best scissors from the kitchen and just trim like a millimetre or two off either side, so they're made of wax, so they cut really, really easily. So a teeny weeny bit off that side. What we need to do, and then the top, so the foundations have little wires in up and down, and then right at the top there's a little tiny bit of wire that pokes out. That's the bottom, that's better. So there's a bit of wire, 3 loops come out of the top of each foundation. And I'll show you what we do with those in a second, because we leave those as they are. Now this is the top bar, and the piece of wood here holds those wire loops in. So first job is to whip those out. So I'm just using, you can always use a flat blade screwdriver or a chisel, which I'm using. They're a bit sticky because obviously these are still got honey in from last year. There we go. Pop that off, and then we'll reuse those nails as well. So now let's put the foundation in. So yeah, there is a top and bottom. So that's the bottom where the little tiny loops draw foundation, and then the tops have larger loops there. So now we've trimmed it, we should be able to slide the new foundation between the lower rails. It's quite delicate, but not too bad. In you go, little fella. And now we slide that in. Now, just as we get to the top, what we do with the wire loops is we bend them 90 degrees so they come up like that. So when the foundation is pushed up on top of the ledge, the wire then lays up there, and you can see where the nail hole is. The nail goes through the wire loop and stops the foundation from dropping down. So there's going to be quite a lot of weight on there once the bees have been busy. So what we're going to do is use a pair of pliers. I found the best way. Just grab those and just twist them up. So if you can see that, I'm now turning that 90 degrees. So we'll do that with this one. Turn it. And this one. Now the bottom ones, I've seen people try and put pins through those, but I think with the weights hanging down, so that as long as we've got 3 pins through the top ones, that should be sufficient. So now we continue sliding that up. It's just popped out the rails there, so just sneak it back in. Up you come. Nearly there. Oh, there we go. That's that side and that side. So now that's up against the top rail. Down you go. There we go. So then this goes back that way around, so it's thinner from the side, and that drops in there. But as you see now, the old nail holes don't match the hoops. The middle one, in fact, all 3 miss. So what we're going to do is we'll get a pencil and we'll mark where the wires are on the side of the top bar. So there's that one, and that one goes there, and then the third one is there. So you have to use a different colour pen next time you reface these. I don't know how many times you can actually do that, but this is only the first time. So I'm going to retrieve these nails out here, back to the edge of the table, and I think we can tap those out that way. That's one. Bent and pretty thin. Two. And three. And we're going to pull all these three out because they don't line up. We should put these. I keep losing these little blighters, they're so small. Two and three. All right, this little one's got a tiny bend in it. I tried to hammer them down on the bench, but they're so thin they tend to. That's not bad, it's not quite straight, but that'll go in. Right, let's move you back to the bench again. Exciting end. Okay, so now we can position this back against there, so you can see the other side of the top bar through the foundation. So we squeeze that back into its position. There we go, so that's how it's going to look. And now, because we marked with a pencil, so let's go for the middle one first. Pencil mark is there. You can actually see the wire through the foundation. So what we're going to do is we use this composty sort of tray. I'm going to hold a nail with trusty pliers because this needs to go at an angle, because these nails are bigger or longer than the top rail and the beading that we're putting back in. So if we go through at an angle like that, what we do is we're catching the wire of the foundation and not going through the other side of the top rail. So we want it about there. This is fairly difficult with a camera in the way. There you go. So yeah, once we've started, it's all good. So just hold that top, that beading in, and then gently tap. Here we go. So now that foundation is held pretty securely there. So I'm just going to do the other two. Then you can see the beading just squeeze in as the nail goes in. I think I've nailed it to the desk, and that is a completed frame, and it's all in pretty solid. There we go. As they all say, like, comment and subscribe.